And I cleared all the comments out.
Okay, here we go. Perfect, ready when you are.
All right, Riley Allen. Before I moved here, I was a front-end manager and sales trainer at a Dick's where I lived. I had a very special cashier of mine. Her name was Diana. She usually worked apparel. Apparel is a very specific field. You know, apparel, you fold clothes, you stay away from customers. And I bet you can guess why. We hire straight from high school, so some of us are working on our people. Diana was at the cash register that day, and she had a full-blown Karen come up to her. The situation, a Karen is, I'm not quite sure how to explain it, but somebody who gives a lot more problems than they should. And as I'm at a different cash register, and I'm kind of observing this. I'm like, you know what, Diana, I've got faith in you. And then things escalate. I'm like, oh crap, I have to get in there and save her. And so I get in there. I separate her from the conflict so she doesn't feel it anymore. I kind of realized that she didn't really feel like she was being listened to or she was understood. So I was like, hey, my name's Grant. I go by Grant there. Like, hey, my name's Grant. I kind of run the front end. She's like, you're 10. You don't run the front end. I'm like, yeah. And I was like, hey, I'm here to help you out. And we kind of worked through it, and she was able to calm down. I feel like a lot of lessons you learn in sales or retail or just like jobs, like they also apply to life. Like appealing to a person, like connecting with a person, getting someone to like you. I mean, we've all tried it. I mean, I can't say it works, but and I just think they're pretty universal. You know, so I think a couple key critical components of sales is the first impression, your product knowledge, and the pitch itself. I looked it up, and according to Forbes magazine, they said that the first 7 seconds of like you meeting someone is the first impression. You have 7 seconds. That is terrifying. Now, in that 7 seconds, you've got to make sure your attitude is good. You got to stay positive. Nobody likes it down there. Now, you might think I'm bouncing off the walls, but it's just because I'm good at my job. You want to have an energetic and outgoing personality, because I mean, if you don't like someone with energetic and outgoing personality, you're like Ebenezer Scrooge. Now, your body language. That was one thing that I saw that Diana wasn't doing very well. She was like crouched in. She wasn't making eye contact. She was like, let's go away. No, you want to make sure your shoulders are broad. You want to stay engaged with the customer, and you want to keep eye contact. Anything you miss any of those, and they're in charge. You want to make sure your appearance is good too. I had plenty of cashiers who'd show up wearing street clothes. I'm like, they don't even think you work here. You want to make sure you look presentable. The next thing is product knowledge, something I would drill my cashiers on. You don't want to spit out random information you don't know anything about. Like, just stay home if you don't know about it. You want to anticipate the questions of the customer. We've all seen a sales pitch, and we're like, yeah, that's going to be pretty hard to sell. Well, focus on that hard point and make it the best point. I mean, I did credit cards for Dick's Sporting Goods, and I was pretty good at it. And I mean, credit cards, like, how do you pitch a credit card? Like, my trick was, don't call it a credit card. Like, make it seem more of like an asset. I stayed away from the word credit card. But I mean, there are just like things you can do to help yourself out. And my third thing for product knowledge was fake it till you make it. Don't ever tell them you don't know. Just ask for help. And I gave my cashiers little nonverbal cues, like to turn off the cash register light if they needed help, and I'd just come over and I'd save them. Now, the pitch itself. I heard a saying, features tell, but benefits sell. You can have a product and tell them all the good things about it all day. Nobody's going to care. But as soon as you show them how that applies to them and how they benefit from it, then they start paying attention, and you have a chance of getting them to waste their money. Now, your pitch adaptation. Now, if I'm going to give a pitch to an 84-year-old man or a 16-year-old girl, they're going to be different pitches because they do not share common interests. Now, one thing that I learned the hard way was your pitch consistency. There's actually some legal trouble you can run into if you are caught like giving certain a career. Diana, like I said about body language, a couple things that I did to kind of help that situation was when I got in there, I just started apologizing. I was like, I'm so sorry. If you scream at somebody who's apologizing, like nobody. Wait, is it on? I think it turned off. Oh, just kidding. There it is. Okay, making sure. All right. Where was I? I was talking about. So I watched from a distance because I wanted to give her a chance to grow, but then this is kind of like the conclusion of my story. But I'm gonna skip to my conclusion. In conclusion, the 3 critical components to sales are first, the first date, second, your product knowledge, and third, the pitches. I personally have taken a lot from sales experience, and it's made me a better person.